Welcome to the Inside MMA podcast. I'm your host, Jake Fine, and today we are talking about John the Manimal Beneduce. John Beneduce is a professional mixed martial artist fighter who recently won at Madison Square Garden about a year and a half, 2 years ago. John has a crazy story and is actually the subject of my next documentary film, directed, produced, and edited by me. He trains at Law MMA under Ray Longo, and he also trains under Matt Serra at Serra's Jiu-Jitsu, all in Long Island. And he trains with the best of the best. He trains with Merab Valashvili, Aljamain Sterling, Pumi Turbo Nakuda. When it comes to MMA and Jiu-Jitsu practitioners, John is at the top of the heap. He's also a great personal trainer and mixed martial artist coach. He's coached many people, and he's actually coached himself from being 5'6", 5'5", 265 pounds, to making weight as a lightweight at Madison Square Garden recently. In this episode, John and I kind of break down his career, break down how he trains, his training philosophies, and we also make predictions on UFC 268, a huge card headlined by Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman. So there's so much rich content in this episode, and I really encourage you, if you're listening, to listen all the way through, because you don't want to miss this, especially if you're interested in fighting yourself, or if you're going through a midlife crisis, because John is the king of overcoming midlife crises. I don't know what you'd say there. But anyway, this is a great one. Thank you guys for listening, and let's get into the interview.
Ray's been running a boxing only class, just hands. It's just boxing. Before my jiu-jitsu class on Tuesdays. So I jump in, I do boxing. We spar a few rounds. We do like 1 round just lead hand, maybe 2 rounds just lead hand. And then 3 threes of just hands, couple drills. And then I do jiu-jitsu. And that's been a great night.
Yeah.
And because of the height, I work with Pumi.
Right.
But dude, that kid is fast. It's good that he's not my size, or else he'd be fucking cracking me.
Right.
He's hitting me, but because it's hard to get a beat on this kid.
Yeah, and I know you, when I got to see you two at Sarah's together, you held your own on the mat. Do you feel the same way when it's boxing?
The problem on the mat, I can make him move very slow, so I can negate his advantages. On the feet, it's a lot harder. But if I cut the ring off on him a couple times in my fight, if you look how I cut the ring off on Kenny,
yeah,
that was from trying to cut the ring off on Pumi. Trying to cut the ring off on Pumi, it was like, an exercise in real focus and perfect movement pattern. So against any opponent who's not as fast, even who's good, I cut the guy off in 2 steps. Whereas Pumi could take 30 steps to cut this guy off.
Right.
It becomes like you ever play that game Perfection, and when it pops, you're like, it's an old school thing, whatever. But like the anticipation of trying to get this kid in the corner, it could burn you out.
I got a lot of footage of you and Pumi.
He's such a good kid. I mean, I think, when you talk about like, he's already a double champ in that CFFC show.
Oh, he's double?
Well, not double weight class, but he defended his title.
Okay, I got you.
It used to be when you first started doing MMA, every time you won, you got a new belt. So when you defended, it was like you won the title again. It was almost like the title was in contention. Well, it is in contention every time you fight.
Oh, kind of like in the NBA. It's not like you got to make it back to the title. Or okay.
That's how you win it again.
Yeah, okay.
Like you don't get 1 ring and they're like, oh, keep the same ring. It's like, no, give me another ring.
That's weird.
Ring. Yeah.
When was that? Like how long ago was that?
That was like in the 2000s.
Like early, like.
Yeah, 2000 to like 2010. Let's say every time you would get a belt when you won.
Even in the UFC, or was that in the other organization?
Yeah. UFC used to have mad belts. Look up like a guy like Frank Shamrock.
Okay.
He winds up having like 9 belts or some shit because every time he wins, he picks up another belt.
What's it like to be an old head but still winning and competing at a high level? Like, I'll compare this to rap, right? Like, you have like who's an old rapper that's still alive?
I mean, Eminem's still alive,
Yeah,
although
Eminem,
that's in
right?
debate. Although that's in debate. He might be a clone rapper, they say.
Go watch.
You ever hear
John's,
that conspiracy theory?
Yeah. Go watch. Talk about that on your other podcast.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Fucking, I'm thinking like, okay, like the guys in like hip hop radio, they always talk about like the old, like Tupac, Biggie, all those guys, right?
Yeah.
And how like all the
But
new
they're
guys.
dead.
Yeah, but none of the new guys compete with them. You're like one of the old guys. You came up at the beginning, and now you won at Madison Square Garden at your last fight when you were 38 or 39. Yeah.
I might have just turned 39.
Yeah. So fucking, what's it like to be Biggie Smalls and still out rapping fucking Drake?
It doesn't even make sense to me. Tell you the truth, like I was rolling with Justin Montalvo kid.
Yeah. I've talked to him. Yeah.
He's nasty, right? And 3-0 as a pro. All these guys.
The body snatcher.
He won every fight with the same freaking move. He comes on the podcast last time. He's like, "Can I show the move I finished my last fight with?" I was like, "It was the same one you showed the last time."
Yeah, no.
It's the same thing.
And
I was
he's like,
"Hey, listen."
He's such a, like, I don't want to, like, he's pretty quiet.
He's a quiet, yeah.
But he'll fuck quiet. You up.
He's very disciplined in training, not in life. But in training, he really puts it together. I had a tough match with him yesterday. He's hard to submit, too.
Who won?
He's very hard to finish.
Who won? Who won?
I mean, if it was like a point jiu-jitsu match, Jake, training's not like that. For me, it's not.
Okay.
And he didn't understand when I was trying to tell him because there was something I did and I was like, I'm not even using my full strength in the gym. That would be stupid. I'm going to hurt myself. You kids can. So I'm really like working on other stuff.
Okay.
There might be a particular move I work on that isn't my bread and butter that I just don't get off that day against the guy.
Okay.
Right. What's the purpose of training?
To get better.
Exactly. What's the purpose of competing?
To win.
That's it. Exactly. That's it.
So what you're saying is
every day.
Okay, yeah.
Huh?
You're what you're saying is when you're training, you're practicing the new shit. You're not doing the shit you're already good at.
And if I am doing the shit I'm already good at, that's on purpose.
Okay.
Then I'm like, okay, today we're gonna work what we're good at. Right. Then it's on purpose. But normally not. You know, when you came and videoed, I was thinking of that like if I was in fight training. So I tried to work all the shit I'm good at.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't really see me taking a lot of risks because in my head, I was thinking about that being the fight camp.
Yeah. I mean, I think the one move I kept seeing you practice was the leg snap, or what's that called? The leg sweep? Where you spin on the ground and you try to kick the guy's legs out from under him.
Oh, the iron broom?
Yeah, that one, yeah.
I throw that every round.
Even today?
Yeah, I throw it once every round.
Okay.
I told myself you throw it once every round.
Now, is that because you're trying to get good at it or you're just practicing it?
I want thousands of reps on that technique.
Got it.
Because when I throw it the next time, it's going to land perfectly. So that has to be paid in energy to get that to happen. That don't happen the first time. It could. Listen, you could come out, and I've heard guys say this. I practiced this in the dressing room right before, and I never thought about it in training. But I think more common is I drilled that shit a million times. When it came time to perform the move, I hit it.
It's like
I think that's the.
Go ahead.
That's the more common way it happens.
Yeah, it's like the fitness YouTubers who like they'll do a video where they like eat 10,000 calories and it's all 7-Eleven food, and they'll be like, they'll they'll be like acting like they eat like that all the time, but really they eat very disciplined. And then when it's time to make the video, they eat all the bullshit. For
Yeah,
the
if you
clicks and
probably
shit.
actually followed that person around, you'd probably notice them doing either, blessed with good, and you may have to have it all. Discipline, blessed with good genetics, to have a certain look, it could take a lot. Like, no matter how much, even like you said that I could probably do 135, and I'm like, maybe when I was a kid, but my body fat was low, even though it looked like I was carrying fat. That's really just skin, and you can see there's just some skin there from being big, losing that weight. The muscle I put on over the years. I mean, 135. Yeah, think about Marab. When I first started, there was only 155 was the lightest. But we were walking around at like 160, 162, which now you'd be a 135-pound fighter. Aljo walks around at 165, right?
Yeah, I've seen him put his weight on the gram. It's like
Oh, yeah.
167.
Yeah. That's what we used to do. We used to fight at 155 and walk around lighter. So really we were 135ers, but but there was no such thing.
Right.
The lightest you could do was 55.
Because there was nothing lower than 155 when you came
and even
up.
that was hard to get.
Okay.
Even that you couldn't really get fights at 155. You would have to a lot of times meet at 160, 165.
Huh.
There was a lot of catch weight fights. 155. I saw early on that was gonna become the weight class because UFC was fighting a title in that division with Jens Pulver and BJ Penn, I think, at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, just 55. I'll just do that.
Because you could have gone to the UFC before your shoulder.
I guess, yeah. If the gods wanted, sure.
You were 3-0 as a pro.
3-0 as a pro. Yeah, the record. The problem with the record back in the day, the fights were hard to get.
Yeah.
As far as sanctioning, even you seen those weird, what we called amateur fights. They were like grappling exhibitions, weird kickboxing fights in the gym, challenge matches, dojo wars. What about those? They don't happen anymore. Guy comes to your gym and just wants to fight. Although that still happens. Guy comes to another gym. That becomes almost a fight right there. These things that don't get on your record, it's like it doesn't count. So my record says like 3-2. However, there's a fight that was like not on record, right? And then one that was no contest. I think we had fought at, was it a reality fighting? They were doing like an outdoor event and that shit got rained out. Like right as we were about to fight. Yeah. That's why they don't
so
really
weird.
do those that much. Yeah.
I feel like you shouldn't do an outdoor fight, like, ever.
Yeah. After that, I'd never do it. Yeah.
Like what?
But so really, pro fight wise, even though it says 5 pro fights, you have to remember it was hard to get fights at that time. Pro. There was a ton of amateurs that were weird, and then there's 2 contests not on the record.
Okay.
I mean, look how hard it was you can't even find that Bellator fight. That was 2017. Imagine before we had real cameras.
It's
2004, 2005. It was hard to get video.
I've looked for that fight 10 times.
Bro, that can't find it nowhere.
And he was MMA Junkie. I'm pretty sure they produced the prelims on that card. And your lawyer, Joe, told me they fucked it up and lost it.
Yeah. It worked out better for me. Otherwise, he would have been like, wait a second. This guy looks kind of good. But I have some pictures from it.
You're saying Kenny Rivera.
Because you just look at it and it's like TKO loss. But you don't see the fight. So you think it was just like, oh, all right, whatever.
So just for my audience, let's just catch him up. Give a quick backstory on who the fuck is the Manimal.
So I came here from parts unknown. Probably.
Calm down.
Calm down. Calm down.
Jesus Christ.
I know. So, yeah, I mean, I'm a professional fighter. I had a 10-year layoff. I wound up coming back after 10 years, had 2 fights in Bellator, lost one at 155, dropped down to 45, fought at Madison Square Garden, my homeland, brought the victory home, dedicated it to the gods of war, and I've been riding high ever since. But it's been a pretty tough struggle getting there. I used to be 265 pounds. At my fight, I was 145, so 120-pound span over the course of my lifetime.
That's some David Goggins shit right there.
Better than David Goggins, because that guy's going to kill himself one day. I might have to talk to him. You might have to see the Manimal film. You don't have to try so hard, dude. You don't have to prove it to yourself. You're enough, man. You're all right. Don't worry. You're okay. Listen, I know you got demons inside you. It's tough to prove to yourself that you're worthy. But remember, when you pick up Thor's hammer, you have to be worthy. And that worth comes from what you've done and your belief in your accomplishments. You're already worthy. You don't become worthy by picking up Thor's hammer.
Right.
All the things you do make you worthy. And then you can pick up the hammer or use anything. You don't even need the hammer at that point. But it's so dope to have. When my brother lent me his hammer for the garden, I was very grateful.
Why do you say that? Why do you call him your brother? Explain that.
Because Thor's my brother. If I'm the son of Odin, then Thor would be my brother.
Because you're Vidar.
If I'm Vidar, yeah. Then Thor's my brother. I was like, bro,
okay.
Let me the hammer.
So people hear this and don't think we're playing fucking pretend.
I'm not playing Marvel. I know it sounds silly.
Explain why,
I follow the old ways. And very piously am dedicated to the Norse pantheon. I closely look to emulate the Odinic path. Odin, the Viking god of war, battle, life, death, really all those transformational experiences. So Odin's the god of transformational experiences. All those experiences being very transformative. When you fight, you're not the same after. Right. You exchange massive amounts of energy in a fight, right? 2 dudes full of power and energy looking to defeat the other one. And neither guy is the same after that, ever. Even quick wins, like it's just like if you think of everything like the cosmos, that's like 2 planets colliding. They're not the same after.
Right.
So,
well, how could you be?
So battle, a very transformative experience. Magic, he's the god of runes. Poetry, also of life and death. Mm-hmm. The most transformative experiences. So Odin is the god that gives life to mankind. He breathes the breath of life. Him and his brothers find. So in you know how in like Judeo-Christian mythology, humans are made from the earth, clay, and then Eve from the rib of Adam.
Yeah.
In the Norse pantheon, they're made from trees, which makes more sense because there's a very close relationship to humans and trees if you ever take time in nature. Right? Everything I breathe out, that tree needs to breathe in. Mm-hmm. And what that tree breathes out, I need to breathe in. So there's a very symbiotic relationship between men and trees and the ecosystem that creates. And then the Odinic mythology heavily ties in humans and that tree imagery. Odin hangs on the tree Yggdrasil. That tree being the world tree found in all religions, right? Judaism, the tree of life, right? The world tree, the tree of life, same thing. There's a common pattern throughout spiritual experiences. Religion, the type of way you want to approach the spiritual, that's however you want to do it. I choose to do it through the Viking pantheon. You might choose to do it through Judaism, another man through Buddhism, another through Islam. If you're pious, though, you'll see certain principles always. Prayer.
What does pious mean?
Pious, when you follow the tenets of your belief, of your faith.
Like when you do what you say you believe, right?
Exactly.
Is that what you mean?
That's
Okay.
piety to the gods. When you do what the gods want you to do, even if it's not what you want to do.
Okay.
Now, I have a funny example. I love this show. It's like this Mormon sister wives show, Seeking Sister Wives.
Okay.
Okay. So this Mormon guy, he's very pious. He has 2 wives.
Uh-huh.
And these 2 wives are like, and him, they're like, we want a 3rd wife, right? They want to have more kids. They're very into this polygamous building a family concept.
Mm-hmm.
And they're sister wives. So these 2 wives, they get along good. They have a lot of kids together. They want another younger wife, right? That they can have more kids with.
Right.
And he's like, okay. And they're very pious. They don't sleep around. They meet, right? All together. They have a conversation. He ain't going banging them. He's like, this is what it's for, is for my religion. My religion says this. And this is what it's for. So, bro, they bring this chick home. And this chick they bring is mad busted. And she's like...
What do you mean by that? Like she's hot?
She just looked like a trucker. She wasn't hot.
Okay.
Yeah, she was just looked like a trucker, right?
Got it.
And but the girls got along with her, and the guy's talking to her, and he's very serious. He's very pious. He's very conservative, if you could imagine. But this is part of his religion, right? So they pull him off camera. They pull him on the camera on the side, and they're like, "Well, what do you think?" He's like, personally, he's like, that's not my decision. He's like, I got to see what God wants me to do. He wasn't into it. Like he was not into it. He was like, I really don't want to fuck this chick. Right? Like you could tell. He was just like, I don't want to bang this girl. I really am not into it. But what did he say? He was like, I got to see what I think God wants me to do. Okay. Right? He didn't say, no, I'm not into it. He didn't dead it. He's like, well, my wives like her. It's about procreate, right? He's like rationalizing now his religion, his beliefs, to do something that he might not be gung-ho to do because he feels that's part of his faith. And I know that's a weird example, but to me, it just sticks out.
Well, I want to piggyback off that. Like for anybody who's listening, right? When I talk to John, and John, just for context, John and I have known each other for about 2 years now. He's one of my closest collaborators. I consider him a great friend and a mentor.
I appreciate that.
So we talk a lot, right? And when I ask John, like, we're working on this documentary together. It's been my biggest project since almost 2 years ago. So he's obviously heavily involved, and I ask, when should I come up next to film? I'm in Chicago. He's in New York. I have to go up there to film this documentary, this movie. So I'll say, hey, I want to come up next. When works for you? Let me ask the gods. I'm gonna do some runes in the forest on a 3-day fast in the woods in the middle of fucking New York. Let me ask the gods.
No, sometimes I usually go. I'll fast in PA. Usually, I can fast in the city too. I prefer to go away. If I do 3 days, I could do that in the city. 3-day fast. And I fast for spiritual reasons, not so much for weight loss or anything. Right. Because my metabolism's so slow, I don't even lose weight when I fast 3 days.
You gain weight.
I fucking gain a pound. I don't eat for fucking 5 days. I gained 2 pounds. How'd that happen?
Right. So when I went to, funny story, when I went to New York, the first time, I was in New York a year ago today, John, filming for our documentary.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
That's right. Still was delayed because COVID, but whatever.
Well, so I'm in New York for the first time after like 6 months delay because of the pandemic broke out 6 months before that when I was supposed to go originally. And I bring my buddy Eric, who just knows how to kind of hold a camera, right? And he watches.
I gotta hit Eric up actually.
Yeah, we're recording. Eric's the best. I haven't talked to him in a while, but yeah, he's a great guy. We're recording the first one of the first scenes that we filmed, which is John's doing his morning ritual, where he goes to Canarsie Pier. Canarsie is a neighborhood in Brooklyn. He goes to the pier. He dips his head under the water. He does like what would you call it? A prayer or a rune?
I carve a rune. I do a little ritual.
Does his ritual. And you'll see this all in the doc. And Eric was like so amazed at how hard you guys like he'd never seen anything like that. I haven't either. But like being there and seeing you guys train, going to law, meeting Ray, meeting Al, and like literally just watching how you fighters in that team operated, especially you, John, because you're so pious and you follow it so much. You got like a Cameron Haynes type of like dedication to your religion. It's like it changed how I thought about myself watching.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Wow. Because I was like, I felt like I was a bum after that. Like, I felt like I needed to like care more about what I do. Like, it was humbling.
Because every fighter is crazy serious about it. Because it's so dangerous what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's so dangerous that it just draws this total commitment to it if you're serious.
Yeah.
And that law, I mean, it's a pretty like, even though we're having a good time.
Yeah.
You open the fucking door, top 10 fighters fall out.
That's my favorite thing you've ever said. I heard you say that on a different podcast. But
it's the truth. You open
it's
the closet.
So true. How many champions at law? And Sarah's?
3 world champions, world UFC champions, and then champs in other things. Well, they got belts everywhere. Remember that Ring of Combat and CFFC?
They've been around a while.
They've been around forever. And they're really the feeder to the UFC.
Mm-hmm. From New York, right?
From the circuit, yeah. Which to me is the deepest circuit.
I was going to say, you guys...
What circuit's deeper? Florida?
You guys have...
I don't think so.
Well, fucking Steamroller goes to Florida when he needs to get out of New York, right? Like, that's the wrong way to put it, but like, one of the UFC fighters who trains in Tampa comes from New York, like, and so does Billy Q. Billy Q is born in New York.
He's fighting at the Garden next week.
I know. I've been doing
good fights on this next card.
I've been doing my research. Yeah, I know.
Billy Q, Shane Burgos. That's an amazing fight.
Yeah. Who do you think wins?
Of course, I got to go with my boy, but that could be fight of the night. That's a great matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Billy Q has the better jiu-jitsu. If he wanted to make the fight easy on himself, he could take that guy down and triangle him from mount. I'm telling him. If Billy Q, if you're watching, which you're probably not, you take that dude down, you mount him, mounted triangle, I guarantee you will finish. If not, I'll give you $500.
Have you trained with him before?
Yeah, he's very good. He has very good jiu-jitsu, yeah.
So when you I'm gonna ask this to Aljo next time I talk to him, but for you
and great stand-up. He has great stand-up.
Yeah.
Billy Q's a banger. You know, he might not have the greatest technical stand-up, but he's a banger, man.
I think.
And slick. He's slick. He has slick moves.
Shane Burgos, it seems like, I mean, he's a ranked guy. He's obviously a top fighter. It seems like this is the fight they're giving Billy to like get him up into the rankings if he wins. Or even if he doesn't win, but he puts up a good fight, you know?
This is a perfect fight for him to showcase, his skills. What were you going to say about Aljo?
I wrote this down as a question for him, but I'll ask you too. When you're predicting fights, do you, when you train with a guy who's in the fight, but you haven't trained with his opponent, does that give you a bias inherently?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it does in the martial arts. You're like, oh, I train with this guy. He's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Not knowing how the other guy is. But when you train with both guys, it's a little different story. And there's like a mismatch that I'm not happy about in a kickboxing fight with two of our guys that they're not our guys. They're like, like guys you've trained with. Although one's more my guy that are fighting each other at like a local show. And Steamroller actually called the promoter of this show and was like, this match is kind of not right. Like one guy has 10 fights. One guy has 2 fights. You know. Yeah, and they were like, nah, it's fine. And we were like, all right, but we're not crazy about it. And I don't like to see my boys fight either. Like, I don't like to see two guys I know fight.
Right.
It's tough. It's like, two
Right.
your training partners.
Yeah, that would be weird. I could imagine. Fucking
I think it'll be,
Felipe Nover,
yeah.
in his interview, he said at your first Bellator fight, he knew your opponent, like he had known him for a while, and he knew you, and he sat between both your guys' teams at the fight.
Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah, it's so crazy, right?
Yeah. So
Fighting's weird. Yeah, that's weird too. That Philly, everyone in Brooklyn knows Philippe. Like,
yeah,
because he was on the Ultimate Fighter season 8. He had a pretty funny season that was like kind of wild. You know,
Dana say he was the next GSP or something?
He cursed him. Yeah, he cursed him. That was the
Oh.
problem. He gave him the kiss of death, essentially.
Explain.
Sometimes you could really fuck someone down. Like he almost cursed them like that. He just couldn't fight the same after that in the UFC, and he drew bad luck somehow, which through no fault of his own. Like, there was a fight in Bellator that he had that he won, hands down, went to decision. They fucking give the other guy the fight. I'm like, what fight were they watching? I'm thinking to myself, oh, thank the gods Philippe won. Great. You know, and they announced the other guy winning. I'm like, what the fuck? He had to fight at the Barclays Center. He fucking cracks that guy in the head twice with a head kick. He hit that guy with everything. Yeah, the guy didn't get knocked out, but the guy did fucking nothing in that fight but get his ass kicked. And again, they give him the decision. The other guy, so Philippe, I've seen him get screwed out of so many fucking decisions. But he's fought all over the world. You know, from the Philippines, Brazil. He almost won that fight against Renan Barão, too. And that's what made Aljo. I remember Ray telling Aljo, look, Philippe almost beat this guy, Renan Barão. And he was holding back, essentially, is what Ray was saying.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Philippe had some great fights. And before the UFC and on that show, he was killing everyone. That's why Dana White said that. Like, he was crushing dudes in that.
I could not imagine being told by Dana White that you're the next, essentially, Michael Jordan of MMA. Like,
yeah, right. Like,
and you're a kid, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a kid now. Like, I'm probably around the age Philippe was.
Yeah, right. Probably, right.
I would be, like you said, I would be fucked up if someone said that. Like, the pressure would kill me.
We do Manimal, and then someone's like, "Oh my God, you're the next Martin Scorsese," or some shit like that.
Nope, I'm not. I would say no, I'm not. Like, I would be like, don't expect that from me, at all.
Yeah, I would tell him, don't fucking play down to me. I'm better than that.
Well, I mean, Martin Scorsese. Like, here's my idea. Like, here's what I learned from Martin Scorsese. Become good at making one kind of movie and be the fucking guy.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I'm going to do.
You make sports documentaries.
No. I make MMA documentaries. And I know Will Harris already does that, but I'm talking about feature length.
Yeah, but his are like 6 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not. And what he does is dope as fuck. I'm talking about, I'm going to be, that's my niche, right?
Yeah, let's do a feature length.
45 to an hour and 30 documentary. Yeah. And John's the first one to the people listening.
I usually don't like to be first, but this is okay. Because I'll have a redo also.
Absolutely.
Especially if the gods decide to bring me out to battle again, but I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm kind of getting to this point where I'm like, I just sold my car and I bought a new one, but I got a loan. So I have all this cash and I'm like, I don't need to work for a long time. I live at my parents' house still. I'm like, why don't I just like go full gung-ho on this like MMA shit, like MMA content?
Who do you want to do next?
I don't even know.
So
I mean, I have good options, though.
I'm a phone roll on my back. Oh, I'm listening.
Go for it. I got good options, though. I mean,
yeah.
Look at just from going to New York to film you a couple of times. I'm gotten.
You got Pumi, you got Marab. You can do Aljo. Aljo probably be a big one, I guess.
Yeah,
his is pretty crazy.
He's got a crazy thing going on right now. I feel so bad for like the shit he's getting.
Yeah, I tell you what, he's really playing to it with the Oscars and shit. But you see how fucked up Peter Yan is, that he's showing like the knee to the face when he's down. I mean, listen, it's an illegal technique in the sport.
Right.
You can't win on it. You can't win on a foul. And I'm a guy who's all for pushing the boundaries of the rules.
Yeah.
However, when you get caught breaking the rule, you can't win on that. Otherwise, if I start losing a fight, I would foul you in order to keep my title. So you can't retain your title on a win by foul. You understand why? Because then I will always foul you to retain my title. That's what they do in pro wrestling.
Right.
So that they can keep the storyline that this guy retains the title.
Right.
In a draw, if I get a draw, I retain the title as the champ. So there's a lot of things around title possession that are very important. So you can't foul a guy and keep your title. Otherwise, anytime shit starts going south for me, I'll poke you in the eye. Yeah. And I'll get DQ'd and be like, yeah, whatever. I'm still the champ. Fuck you, pay me.
This is something I find annoying. Like, that I agree with, right? But why are there so many, like, people who cover MMA? Except for Chael Sonnen. All the other guys I've seen are like, do you guys think that this interim title between Corey and Peter Yan is the real title? Like, don't you think? And I'm like, that just discredits, like, the integrity of the UFC. If you start assuming shit like that, then why wouldn't everybody do what Peter Yan did? Like, why
you didn't even have an interim title. Why do you need to make a million interim titles? Sometimes a fight's just a good fight. Don't need a title.
Yeah. That's
essentially a number one contender fight. Listen, no matter what you say, Aljo won that fight.
Yeah.
On paper. Listen, you win by DQ. Did he get the win bonus? Yes. He won the fight. He took the title home. That's it. Right. You ask the gods for something, don't be upset when they give it to you. It doesn't necessarily... Listen, you asked them for a certain thing. You said, please, let me fucking come home with the title. Guess what? You did. You came home with the title. The gods gave you what you asked for.
Right.
Now, don't complain about how it happened. Now you have a chance to... And, I watched that fight. That was actually a great experience. We watched Aljo's fight against Peter Yan at Aljo's house.
Right. Because your whole team bought your own plane tickets and flew there. I feel like that most people don't fucking know that, because people online are all like, and I get these in my comments on TikTok. What? People online think he just went to a party after he got clocked in the head. No, his whole fucking team bought their own tickets to fly there and hang out with him and support him, which nobody sees.
Listen, the first problem is most of the people talking about other people couldn't even hold my cup. They couldn't even, they think that they could comment on something because to the eye, they look like you, but not to the flesh, they don't. And they would quickly find that out because it's hard to tell a man's metal until you've tried to test him. So these people that would comment and talk shit are made of softer materials than they would ever imagine. And you don't know what someone's made of. Look at Tammy. Tammy looks like a nice, quiet girl.
Tammy, your wife.
My wife. But she don't break or fold. Tougher than any 10 men. She's all right. Well,
I can attest to that.
You know what I mean? Like, all right, people will talk a good game.
Yeah.
And then when it comes time to prove what they have said,
right,
they come up very short.
Go ahead, sorry.
I've always, and I think one thing that people will say about me, good or bad, is that I do the things I say I will do.
Yeah. We could all use a little more of that, I think. Like,
yeah.
Isn't one of the 4 laws in that book, the 4 spiritual laws of success? Yeah. I got to read that book, but I've heard that law so many times.
Be impeccable with your word.
That's the one everybody says. That one.
Yeah, and they never are.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, me too.
because
I'm
when
not.
push comes to shove, they fold like little bitches, like pieces of tissue paper, and then they rationalize it. And I did myself at one point, but
Yeah,
then
yeah.
what did Odin tell me? That I'm not the fucking god of merchants, I'm the god of warriors. And well, isn't that the truth? So, so
Odin's not.
dust
Not.
yourself off.
Odin told you. Well, they'll see that in the doc, right?
You'll see that in the
They'll see
doc.
that in the doc. So, but I can
Sometimes you
also
stick to
here.
the gods.
I can
Sometimes the
attest that
gods
you're
stick
a man of your word because, and this story didn't make the doc, but there might be a deleted scene. After John's first fight in Bellator, he got another fight at 145, and his opponent pulled out early, and John
yeah.
what'd you have, 13 pounds left to lose to make 146?
Yeah, and I just made it.
And you
I just
made
made
it
the weight.
even
I
though
was
there
like,
was
I
no
signed
fight.
up to make the weight. I was already cutting the weight. I think I was probably 9 pounds out by the time I got the call that the fight was officially off.
Uh-huh.
Because I was trying to still get the fight. I was trying to get a replacement on short notice. And it didn't happen, thank the gods, because they needed that not to happen and me to cut that weight to sacrifice. So the energy I sacrificed in that weight cut showed the universe how serious I was. And then I also showed them another way. I was supposed to fight in a different show before I got the call for Bellator. Because I told Joe, I was like, listen, I just, after that fight fell through, I was like, I just desire to fight. I lust for combat. I just want to fight. I just lust for battle, right? The pure love of the game. And there was a fight in Pennsylvania, Maverick. The opponent they were going to match me up with was a very good opponent, a good match. Actually, that would be a great fight for me still. This guy, Thad Frick, he's in his mid-30s. He's like 4-4. He's a 50-50 fighter, like 4-4. I'm a little older too. That'd be a great matchup, even now, for a show. It'd just be a good matchup. But I would like my next matchup, though, to be against someone that I can really draw entertainment value with. I mean, you see the model that I hate Jake Paul, but he does know how to promote the fight. He goes and shows. He brings a lot of money to it. I need to fight like Jake Paul's assistant for 50 grand. Like, who's that? I don't know. Isn't there like a girl fighter that he has? Maybe we could fight for the transgender championship. I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
I'd actually prefer not to. I'm not into that shit, actually. But no, does he have like an assistant that I could fight? I don't know. Like, I know I can't fight Jake Paul. I just don't have the draw yet to get that magnitude of a fight, right?
No.
But who's like the next rung down that I could get like 50, 60 G to fight?
Well, here's what I think, John. I think as you keep building your brand, for context, a few months ago you had less than 10,000 followers. Now you have, or just at 10,000
Just
followers.
that. I think
now you're at 13 already.
We've been focused though.
Yeah.
Focusing a little more. Once I got off my shadow ban, that was good. Oh, my back.
Yeah, but once your personal brand, like after this doc comes out, who knows how viral that goes or what that does for your brand. But like that's what I'm like, if you keep building your brand, you're going to just inherently draw money anytime you fight. You know what I mean?
That's the Paul model. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, well, he just signed his next fight with Tommy Fury.
Yeah. At least that's another boxer.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Tommy Fury, but
yeah, I'd like to see Jake Paul win because I just want to keep seeing this entertainment.
Crazy fights. I want to see when's he going to put his money where his mouth is and do MMA. I'll fight him and his brother in MMA one after the other.
Yeah, you'd beat their asses because they're
athletic.
Wouldn't you agree though? Like,
and they're big.
They're
Those
big.
Are two big kids. Like, you see how much bigger that. The smaller brother was 50 pounds heavier than Mayweather.
But you're a second degree Sarah Jiu-Jitsu and black belt from under Matt Serra, right?
Yeah, I mean size wise it's an ugly fight, but whatever.
Yeah, but like they can do MMA, but they're not gonna be a
once we go to the ground.
yeah, no,
Yeah, I mean,
they're fucked.
it's
And
gonna take them too long. That's why they want to box, because it's a skill that you could really focus on and learn in a relatively short amount of time, especially if you're a good athlete. It's one skill set. Grappling takes the longest time to learn. It takes 10 years to get a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Every other martial art takes like 4 or 5 years to get a black belt.
and you're
It's a
like
reason.
20 years in, right? To jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. So the amount of grappling skill you can accumulate over a guy makes it almost unfair once you can grapple him. If
So
listen, could you get caught in that fight? These kids are young, athletic, fast. You could get caught. You get knocked out, sure. But I'd put my money on grappling them, taking them back, and choking them unconscious. That's where I put my money.
I
My
think
wife has a question, Jake.
Go ahead.
Do you know anyone who knows how to do 360 images? Is there a way to stitch images together in Adobe or something? She likes to make escape rooms. She wants to make the backgrounds of these digital escape rooms.
I don't know anybody, but tell her to look on Fiverr.
Fiverr. Yeah, I got a good flyer guy on Fiverr.
I just designed a flyer for our landscaping business.
That's so funny that you have a landscaping business.
It provides it provides a nice contrast to sitting here and editing content all day. You know what I mean?
I feel that's why I want a little place in the woods so I can like farm and chop wood and shit.
Are you gonna move to the south?
You know, I mean, I was thinking of getting a. I like the mountains of Tennessee. It'd be a great spot to make an apocalypse camp. And there we could do a shooting range there. I'll get like 30, 40 acres. I'll pitch in with like 5 or 6 guys.
Yeah.
This way we spread the investment out. We'll make it self-sufficient. Solar powered. We'll grow our own produce there. We'll have a place that you could shoot. You could train. We'll just put like a 5,000 square foot steel shed, and you could throw a dope gym in there. Everything you need.
Right.
Maybe do a little manufacturing out of there in case shit really goes down. I know that the supply chain stuff's been tough for my CBD guys to get gummies. Could take 2,000 square feet, put a commercial kitchen, and you could do some stuff in there. No big. You know, if you got 5, 6 guys on it, make a nice little apocalypse retreat, you can make money off of it.
Yeah.
For the first year, just Airbnb it. If you're close to the Smoky Mountains, it's just an Airbnb with 30 acres. Bring your dogs.
I'm actually proud. I'm going to Tennessee in a few weeks.
Have you been before?
Many times.
Oh yeah,
but
I love it down there.
I've been to the Smokies once and Nashville 2 or 3 times.
Nashville's cool. I like the Smokies better. I want to go to Chattanooga. Yeah, that's nice.
I went to
a lot of waterfalls apparently. That's the place that floods though. I wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah, I think
that's the Tennessee that floods. Because I want to be in the mountains. That's where Odin says to go for Ragnarok.
Really?
Yeah, he says the people in the mountains survive.
I mean,
because probably what would happen is some type of cataclysmic ocean event that would cause most of the coastal cities to get flooded.
Mm-hmm.
New York hopefully should sink.
That's what they're saying is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to. I hope so.
That's why they voted Chicago the best city in America.
Because it's not going to get flooded?
Because it's flood proof.
It won't flood, yeah. Even though it's on the Ohio River,
even though you literally can't go anywhere without a bulletproof vest if you want to feel safe. Chicago's got voted the best city in the world like 5 years in a row by this one magazine.
It wasn't voted the best city, but here you need a vest too.
I would say New York is the best city. A year ago, a year and a half, 3 years ago, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah, 3 years ago. Right now, probably Austin.
Fucking Austin might be lit. You see, I gotta struggle with that too. Tammy's Dallas would switch her cert over and pay the most, but I don't know if I want to go to Texas right this second.
I could see you in Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, Texas worries me a little bit, but whatever.
Why? You don't want to go there?
I don't know. I'll tell you off air.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
All right,
So
let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. So we've got this documentary coming out. We don't have a release date yet. Why? What do you think for you is like the main message? If you look at your this documentary as like a memoir, what do you think is the message that you want to tell with your life story?
there's a few things. The overriding principle for me is that just because it doesn't make sense the way something's happening doesn't mean it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes time. It's like a tapestry. When you, or like the seam. So this seam looks rough. Where the fuck am I? The seam is rough. When you turn it inside out, it looks very smooth.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're going through life, a lot of times it's like looking at it from the inside out. It don't look right. When you finish, you're like, oh, that made sense.
Yeah.
So that's the really metaphorical thing I'm looking to get out of it. And the really practical thing I'm trying to convey is just take another day. You might just, there's a lot of times where you just want to quit. And listen, I think that mental health right now is more important than what they're trying to push for so-called physical health. Because one of the key indicators of an unhealthy immune system is a high level of stress. And if you see animals, when they get stressed, they often get sick. And stress comes in many forms. And you're putting this constant pressure all the time on most people, now more than ever. I think if you start to look at suicide rates, they're getting a little out of control. To just take another day, and especially now, it's probably really hard for a lot of people. I know I'm struggling again now. The gods gave me a whole nother struggle, even though I thought I was past.
It never is over.
This point in my life, if you want to get to 20th level, so we're trying to get there, right? Trying to ascend out here. I'm trying to get to the 20th level. The gods can't even. So can I get very metaphysical, Jake? You want me to take you into a little? So the gods, the energy, that archetype, it's almost impossible for them to come to the world, the prime material plane, the densest realm right here, with their full power. So how do the gods usually come in mythology? They'll come into someone else's body. They have an avatar. So even if you want to, so if you can't actually be that god. Maybe Ragnarok, all the gods could come down because it fucks everything up. But until that point, you can only have like an avatar of that god, or have that god, you can invoke that energy. But if your body is not strong enough, you can't only but invoke so much of that power. So the gods can't, the more powerful you are, the better you can serve the gods because they can utilize you better.
Mm-hmm.
You give them some weak ass shit to use. You know, if I gave you a butter knife to cut steak, it's not really the best thing.
So you're saying like it's your duty to Odin, who is the god you believe in, to
really to all the gods. It's my duty to the universe above all the gods.
Yeah.
Even above. So I have another duty.
Okay.
Even above all the gods to the universe. Right.
Okay.
But I direct that through Odin usually. Right.
Yeah.
That's how I connect with the universe. But there's an all-encompassing universe that works through me that might not be part of any particular deity's plan. And just the general universe's plan.
Yeah. And that's where you start to get like, not you specifically, just in general, like when you start talking about like
what's the plan of the entire universe?
Yeah, like
are we just the gut microbiome? of the cosmos. You know how inside your belly you have trillions of little organisms?
Yeah.
Is that what we are to a cosmic entity?
I think we're even smaller than that. We're like the gut microbiome's gut microbiome.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, maybe.
Like,
That's why there's so many of us.
Yeah, and I think your story is cool. Like when you ask me who's next, like what's my next documentary after you, it's like the reason I don't know is because like with yours I've had to go like, so your story is more a story about religion than it is particularly fighting. Like fighting is like
part of my religion.
Part of it. Yeah, like
fighting's part of my religion, but it's not my whole religion.
It's about you, and then I think it outlines like your piousness. And
that's why I don't need a lot of fights either. It's like fighting's part of my religion.
Yeah, it's
like a ritual for me. Yeah. It's not like something I have to do all the time to make a living.
Right.
But I love to do it.
Yeah, and I think it would be hard to like you're exploring that side of you has been like it's made me have to get creative as a filmmaker. And like think about those like spiritual and metaphysical things even more. Like if I
realize when you were doing a documentary about me that it would be about that.
No, quite honestly, I thought it was gonna be like the thing that popped out at the beginning. It was like, oh, pro fighter, MSG, like this is a great career opportunity. And then I was a fan of Conor McGregor at the time, so I was like, oh, I like fighting.
I love Conor. This dude fought in Madison Square Garden. He's like, this is great.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Like, moving up. Boom,
right.
He's fucking shit up. He's ready to.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, now I'm literally like becoming into like MMA media because of doing this. And
but mine is definitely the weirdest MMA story.
But that makes it interesting. Like, it's not just some Sports Center 30 for 30. It's like it's a real piece of like exploration.
Yeah, it really makes. I could go deep.
Finding that level of depth with another athlete is probably going to be hard. It'll just be a completely different. Like I'm in such a different mode doing something like for you than I would be.
This is very artistic, right?
Yeah,
it became a work of art.
Yeah,
like even more so than the normal art of what you do.
Yeah, like okay, I'll compare it to this. If you want to live in New York City, it costs a lot. You have to like have a high level of output and work ethic to make that happen. Just to live in
very competitive. It's very competitive, so you actually can sometimes make less than you would in a less competitive place.
Right. So if I take John out of New York, he keeps the accent, but now he's like drop you in Tennessee in like the mountains, especially if not even Nashville, like the cheap part of Tennessee.
I would go in the mountains. Yeah.
You're fucking top 0.1% of like workers, earners. You're gonna have a 40-acre farm. Like right now, you're in like you're in the top of a top of a 2-level condo, and now you're in like I put you there. Now you're in like the highest level you could be. Like the lifestyle changes completely. Same with like going from your story to like any other athlete.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna change. Yeah, it changes completely. It'd be interesting to do the Tennessee thing, especially if I could get a little crew to do it with. Be interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
and then if I could give opportunities for people to do stuff, we could put a studio in there, dope studio, do everything virtually.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
You know what? Hold on, my boy thought that it was a misprint on the real estate tax in Tennessee. So I said,
is it zero or what?
No, real estate tax you pay, but very little.
Mm-hmm.
So on 30 acres of land with a house, it was like $1,800 a year. He was like, "Is that monthly?" And they made a mistake. I was like, "No, that's actually yearly." He's like, "It can't be." He lives in Long Island. He's like, "Mine's $1,800 a month on a third of an acre." I was like, yeah, now you know why I would like to do this in Tennessee and not in New York.
Right.
I was like, now you understand why I'm not looking to do this in Long Island. If I get if I got 2 acres in Long Island with a house in a nice spot, that shit, first of all, could be over a mill,
Definitely.
even far out. And then you're talking about, 15, 20,000 minimum, even in deep Suffolk. It's a
Fuck.
massive investment. A place
Yeah.
in Tennessee, that place would cost $1,500 a month. You could just Airbnb it and make that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
um
You
do
know
you
what I
want
mean? Like, it would just,
yeah.
like, dude, you have a place with acres and acres that you could just, okay, shit gets thick. Me and
I'm
the
I'm out.
guys invested it. We're out. Boom. We got the AR-15s. We got the War Dogs. And enough food to last here for years.
Do you
We
think
don't
you
need.
could be like a Ray like not a Ray like to that would be almost blasphemous, but like do you think you could be like have his job and start your own gym like that in
Yeah,
Tennessee?
I don't have that energy.
No.
I don't have that desire. I'm not that dedicated to, like, don't get me wrong, I love coaching, but I'm not that dedicated to that aspect of it.
Okay.
Ray's all about that. And there's a lot of other sides to me
Yeah.
that need to be fed as well. I'm a little more complicated character. No, Siri, I'm not. Ray's
No,
the
yeah.
best, and there's a
Yeah.
reason. Because that's all he. Anytime you walk into the gym, he's there. I'm not.
Right.
I
You're
spend
not
fucking. Dude, there's times I spend. You see that little island I've been going to, and you get a kayak with me. We could go there and do some shit.
yeah.
That shit'll be dope.
I was
So,
thinking we
like,
should, yeah.
okay, if I spend the fucking day on that island smoking weed and thinking about life, I'm not at the gym training fighters. Ray's at the gym training fighters while I'm
Right.
doing that.
Right.
Thinking about the universe and exploring. Ray's not doing that. Ray's fucking coaching fighters. Like, he has a very singular focus.
Right.
And he's very driven. But that's a very old school thing.
Oh yeah.
That's the way the guys his age group were built. You do one fucking thing, and that's it. That's your career, right?
That's kind of
Everything
what I
else is
want
a
to do.
hobby.
Like
Yeah, I mean, I
it's a
love
pen
coaching.
I feel like oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I love coaching. Like, if I was at the right spot, that I could have a small gym with like 50, 60 solid dudes, of course I'd like that. But I don't need no fucking. I don't need it. I don't desire it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. True.
And then it's a lot to, like, go with them and do all the shit. Like, I do it for my kids. But
Right. That's why I thought about it, because you've got Dell and Zach who
yeah, but
you've
I
like
don't do it
taken
for
under your
them.
wing.
I do it because I love them.
Right.
Not so much because I want that to be the thing, right? Like,
Uh-huh.
I just don't have the desire for it. I know that
Dell
might sound weird. I just
Dell won his first amateur fight.
Dell won his first amateur fight. He did really good. Listen, Zach's first amateur fight, he lost. However, what I will say is that fight was a 50-50 fight because of the skill level of his guy. Because even Zach, it was hard for him to get his first fight. Kept falling through. He's a monster. You look at that guy, you don't want to fight him. And his opponent, a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, and big and strong, no one wanted to fight that guy either. I call this a 50-50 matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Zach the better striker, the other guy the better grappler. It went the way it went. You start to get a little fatigued. The guy that he fought is the bigger version of me, not as good yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he got out of the choke once or twice. It's just that guy was the better grappler.
Mm-hmm.
And a big, strong grappler too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
But he could have knocked that guy out. And then Bedell, crazy fight against a very good opponent. He got caught a couple times, weathered it, got taken down, reversed it, showed killer instinct, which I always love to see. He was an asshole in there, which I love. The guy just had his arm around him and he just hammer-fisted his elbow and broke his arm. I've never seen that before. But he already had weakened the guy's arm with crazy kicks. So he was throwing like crazy hard kicks, probably weakened it. And then they were against the cage and, the guy's arm was like kind of around his back.
Yeah.
And he elbowed him. He just hammer-fisted him there and like extended the elbow and fucking broke his arm.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah. I mean, a win's a win. I was like, be proud. He did the technique. He tried to fucking hurt the guy, and he did.
Yeah. Fuck, man. And I have a clip of him getting sat down in sparring by this. Man.
That's good too.
I still got that.
And his knee, he had to get his knee surgery after that fight too. He messed his knee up. He had messed it up in sparring that day, and then it just, he fought with it, still a little compromised, and
for the people listening, that we're talking about John's. He calls him his kid, but really it's just a young guy from the neighborhood.
Yeah, we didn't get Dell in there.
No.
There's so much to get in there. Yeah.
But we should probably figure out how we'll talk about that later offline. But Dell's and Dell and Zach are like some kids from the neighborhood that John took under his wing, and he's training them to hopefully become pros in mixed martial arts or just at least, be better fighters. And we're talking about their first amateur fights. Speaking of fights, though, John, do you have any interest in doing some UFC 268 predictions instead of 267?
You don't want to do 267. You want to do 268. Sure.
Because then we can roll that out all next week for you.
Okay, yeah.
And then you have a longer amount of time to put all that content out.
UFC 268. We got some good fights on that card.
Yeah.
I'm excited for a few fights. You want to go top down or bottom up?
I say bottom up, and starting at Al. But we'll start with Al versus Bobby, then we'll go to the main card.
Yo, that's crazy that Al versus Bobby's not on the main card. They should be ashamed of themselves.
But that's how stacked the card is.
This is how does Alex Pereira get billing over Al and Bobby Green? Both guys with exciting fights. Bobby Green got fucking 40 fights. Al,
I feel like
the title. How are they not, dude? First of all, they need to show some fucking respect to both these fighters, Al and his opponent.
Yeah,
they're not on the main card. This is the first beef with this card. How that's not a main card fight? I don't care how stacked the card is, but when you got a UFC title challenger, a guy who went 5 rounds with Khabib, and you got a guy like Bobby Green with 40 fights, not a boring fight in his life.
And he's still fucking kicking it, too.
They should be ashamed of themselves.
He gave that guy Fiziev in his last fight. Like a real fight.
Fiziev is amazing as a kickboxer. He's a great... Ask anyone in the kickboxing world, they'll tell you that guy Fiziev is off the charts. And ask Steamroller. Steamroller trained with him in Thailand.
Wow.
And he says that guy is ridiculous.
Right. And so that fight, the story was the first 2 rounds Fiziev won. The way I saw it. And then in the 3rd round, it was like all Bobby Green.
Crazy that this is on the undercard, but all right. Fucking whatever. You know I always go with my boys. So I'd love to see. Al's been training hard. He's been looking good.
Yeah. Al blessed us with an interview for your film.
That was a good interview, too.
That was, like, for me, that was like a, holy fuck, I'm interviewing, at that time, the number 9 lightweight fighter in the UFC.
That was, he was ranked top 10.
Yeah, I remember, because I was like, what the fuck is this guy ranked right now? Like,
yeah, you were like, dude, what is this guy ranked?
And he, didn't know who I was, and still gave us the interview, so that was sick. So you guys are going to...
I really appreciate I don't know, me and Al just always had a good vibe together.
Yeah, but it was even cool because I don't think
too serious, but we always just. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if he's fucking with me, but we, Jack the Tan season, we like the water.
I mean, it seems like you guys are cool, right? I mean,
I love the guy is really one of the best guys out there. as far as just a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then talented in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Even like guys make fun of him for the real estate thing, but it's like, how could you? What are you making fun of? That the guy's a hustler?
And it
Yeah,
sounds like
like
he's
what are you?
fucking killing it. Like
He's
he sold
killing
like
it. Yeah,
40 houses. If you do the math on that,
he
he's
made
probably
millions.
making a fucking shit ton of money off selling houses.
He's making millions of dollars selling houses over the
Like,
course of
yeah, but like
life of
in
doing
2
it
years,
in a couple of years, and has his own dope house right on the water.
yeah, come on. Like I
Yeah,
think Connor in an interview when he called out Al. Not many people talked about that, by the way, which they should
oh
have.
yeah, he said he wants to fight Al. I don't
He
know
said he
why
wanted to fight Al. I hope that happens, because if that happens, I'm making that documentary.
that would be good. If Al could really fucking do the right thing with Bobby Green, that would be a great fight.
That would be sick. Uh,
Great money fight for him too.
God, yeah, just great for the whole team too. But
Yeah.
anyway, let's start doing predictions.
And then you could go back to the Dolly incident when he was in the bus.
Al was
You
on
could
that
build
bus, wasn't he?
backstory. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could
There's a
build
story there,
backstory.
yeah.
Okay, so Frankie had Gamal and Vera. This is actually a fair matchup.
Well,
To
wait,
me.
hold on. You want to like really break down Al versus Bobby Green?
Oh, do I want to break down Al versus Bobby Green? I mean, listen, they're both boxing style fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Al definitely probably some of the best fight IQ I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Bobby Green, tough, durable. It's a tough fight. To tell you the truth.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's either it goes to a decision or Al connects with the overhand right.
I could see Al connecting. 3-rounder might go to a decision.
Because Bobby
But I would
Green,
love to see Al finish. You know what I would love to see personally is I would love to see Al take Bobby Green down and show that he has good wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Because he does. Way underrated jiu-jitsu skills. That's why he did so well in the Khabib fight. He has very good jiu-jitsu skills. And I'd love to see him use it. What would I love to see? Me, if I could tell you, a leg lock. Al would leg lock him. Bobby Green has legs just built to break. They're built to leg lock his legs. Just saying. That's what I think when I look at him.
Okay.
But that's me being biased. I would look at him and be like, oh, all I want to do is break his leg.
What do you think happens?
What?
What do you predict would happen? That's that's your ideal scenario, but what do you predict happens?
What if I fought Bobby Green?
No. In
he
this
my
fight.
Ass. Probably. He might want my ass. I don't know. But I doubt it.
No, I'm saying
I gotta pick Al. Come on, I'm going for Al. But I would love to see Al take him down and finish him.
that would be cool.
That would be my dream scenario.
Right. Okay.
That would give me a hard on.
Well, yeah. So I mean, Al's 1-3 in his last 4. Bobby's 2-2 in his last 4.
Yeah. So listen, as far as those fights go, there's something that happens in fights that you can't see on the TV is how that guy's performance is that night in comparison to what he could do. And sometimes you might be, let's say, mediocre, but come out and have the best performance of your life on a night where another guy is having the worst performance of his night. And they just happen to be at that same night. It makes you look like a stud. That's what happened in the Donald Cerrone fight.
Yeah.
Okay, in the Dan Hooker fight, if I remember correctly, he was doing good in that fight.
That was a decision.
It was a 3-rounder, a decision. They were both decision losses.
Yeah.
The low calf kick, I think, had been a problem for Al in those fights. So I don't think that's going to be a problem in this fight.
Do you think? I mean, and he also fought Khabib, so it's not like he's fighting he's fighting the best guys at that time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, all the best guys. Remember, every guy he fought was ranked above him. I think at that time, maybe not Dan Hooker, but Dan Hooker was coming on strong in the rankings, and you see he's in the top 10 now.
Right, he's a
He's fighting top
potential
10 guys.
contender. Yeah.
Remember, 155 is one of the deepest divisions, if not the deepest division.
Mm-hmm.
It's
It is.
murder.
Oh, yeah.
It's Murderer's Row, that division.
Yeah.
Michael Chandler, Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, Khabib just retired, Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor, Ali Aquinta, Dan Hooker, Islam Makhachev, who rounds out the top 10 there?
Makhachev, if you want to get fancy.
I think he's fighting today, right?
Is it today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So that's Murderer's Row.
Al's last three are more competitive, like more higher ranked matchups than Bobby Green's last three. And
yeah.
I got Al. I got Al overhand right.
Straight right. He's a great straight
right. Or. Because here's the thing, right? Bobby Green's been active and he's 40, or he's 35 and he's had 40 fights. Al's right hand and right elbow put motherfuckers to sleep with strong chins, with fresh chins, and he's fresh. Sure. It's not like he's been getting his ass kicked for the past 2 years.
No, he hasn't really. When was the last time he fought? Probably pre-pandemic, right?
Because
pre-pandemic, because it was in Australia at the Marvel Stadium before Australia became a dictatorship.
His last fight was...
The devil said the storm is coming.
UFC 243 in 2019, so yeah.
Yeah, the old grappler said, give me 10 minutes to warm up. and a flow roll and I'll get to it.
There's that New York honk in the background. Okay,
it's lit out here.
I think
my neighborhood has been crazy lit. Google shootings Canarsie. You know, it's been lit.
So you've got
Did you actually?
I did, yeah.
How's it look?
18-year-old driver shot to death in Brooklyn. 17-year-old killed, 2 others injured. Bullets fly again in Brooklyn. Teen dead in gang. Yeah.
It's lit. It's been litty.
That's where John lives.
That's where I live in Ragnarok.
Right.
My dog got into a crazy vicious fight with a pit bull. She's recovering well, though.
Oh, yeah. How's your fucking dog?
Dude, the vet tried to bang me out, man. They seen Tammy crying. They don't let you in with the dog anymore. They panic you. They were trying to get like 2G out of me. They still wound up just to fucking give her antibiotics, do her blood work to make sure she didn't have an infection because her arm did get swollen. Although it turns out it's looking pretty good today. It was like $600, and then they wanted another $1,200. I was like, calm down, motherfuckers. They were like, we want to give her anesthesia and sedate her so that we could X-ray her. I was like, well, let me come in. I will hold her, and you can X-ray her. They're like, no, you're not allowed to come in because COVID. I'm like, you motherfuckers. I was like, you're making this way harder than it needs to be. I was like, and I don't have the money to be giving you another $1,200 on top of the shit you already did. I'm broke, motherfucker. Not that broke, but broke enough. Shit, you know I'm down 150 grand this year.
It's fine if they think you're broke, right?
Listen.
Plus, IRS is listening, baby. So
IRS knows that they fucking fired my wife, the main source of my income. They know that my guys, they see my bank accounts. They know shit ain't coming in like it used to.
They're
watching every $600 transaction, Jake.
Don't get me started.
Every penny you put in there, they don't want you to eat, but they want to launder money with $500,000 art paintings.
Yeah.
That's what all that shit is. Did I ever explain that to you? How you launder money with art?
Yeah, you hire someone for $20K.
Yeah.
You donate the art and value it at $10 million. Now you don't have to pay taxes for 5 years.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's the biggest.
Why can't I do that? Why can't I do that?
You want to do it?
Yeah. Let's donate this film.
Oh yeah.
That'll pay for itself.
10 mil. What's this film worth? 10 mil.
Yeah.
And then we'll never have to pay taxes on our shit in the future.
Yeah. Easy.
Yeah. Easy.
Okay. Let's move on because my camera's gonna die soon.
Yeah.
Billy Q versus Shane Burgos.
I mean, I love that fight too.
Who do you got?
Another fight where I got Billy Q, of course. That's my boy.
Sorry.
Another fight where I would love to see Billy Q take him down and submit him because he's the better jiu-jitsu guy, but I think he's going to make it a stand-up war.
He's good on his feet too. He's
very good on his feet.
7 knockouts, 5 submissions, 4 decisions to Shane Burgos's 5 knockouts, 5 subs, 5 decisions. And that's both in their respective amount of wins. Billy Q's younger. He's unranked.
He's unranked. I think Shane Burgos is unranked as well, though.
I think he's 14.
Like, how'd they make the main card and not Al Bobby Green?
I don't know. That's
what I'm saying? Like, that's
weird to me.
That's weird to me.
Here's probably why. Shane Burgos is top 15. Neither of Bobby Green or Al are top 15 right now. So that might be why. But that's weird.
I don't think so. I thought Al was ranked. Because Al hasn't fought in 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Come off the rankings.
Yeah, I think that's probably why.
You might be right.
I predict Billy Q.
I got Billy Q in this one too. Shane Burgos. I've never seen someone have such a delayed knockout. His last fight, I don't know.
Yeah.
He got hit. He got knocked out, but he was like he was in there for a few seconds. I thought he was going to throw a punch. He got cracked. He was like,
dude, I saw a meme where it was like, who's the guy he faced in that fight?
I don't remember if it was Charles Oliveira. It was Cowboy Oliveira, right?
Maybe. But the meme was like, his opponent hit him with a +50 poison.
Yeah, he failed his poison saving throw. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, in my opinion, this is what I think the UFC wants. They see Shane Burgos as a guy who's potentially going down, and Billy Q is a prospect.
I think so too.
Who's got more promise in the future. So let's give Billy Q this guy let's get him in the rankings. Let's make him a star.
I think that's a fair assessment. It could also be a Shane Burgos has to win. Could be a must win for him. For Billy Q, I mean, it's a must win. It's always a must win out there.
Yeah. But when you say must win, you don't mean he wins or he's cut. You mean
Shane Burgos, yeah.
You mean he wins
Shane
or
Burgos
he's cut?
Might get cut. Yeah, he's losing. Usually, Jake, the rule of thumb is if you lose 3 in a row, you're getting cut.
He hasn't lost 3 in a row, though, has he?
He's lost 2.
Okay. Fuck.
Yeah, if you lose this one, it's going to put him in jeopardy. Definitely. So that's a must-win fight for Shane Burgos.
If you lose to Edson Barboza and then you lose to a guy who's ranked 30 to your 14, yeah, could be.
Yeah, exactly.
But because it just shows like, okay, you're not beating the guys above you, you're not beating the guys below you.
Exactly. Yeah, who are you beating? Yeah, right. You're not beating the guys ranked above you, you're not beating the guys ranked below you.
Yeah.
We gave you a guy ranked below you and Billy Q. You have to win this or else you're cut. And for Billy Q, it's the chance to build him. Yeah.
I love those fights. That's such a good matchup, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got Billy Q in this one.
I do too.
He looks smooth. I trained with him before. We had a great time in Vegas.
Yeah.
Good training. That was a good training vacation.
That was for Aljo's fight?
That was for Aljo's fight. Yeah, we went there for a week. Got a lot of training in. Did a couple two-a-days. Hiked the Red Rocks again. A lot easier when it wasn't July.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, it was easier in March. It was almost, I almost got cocky and wound up stepping on a cactus. But I was like, the rocks aren't even hot this time. It's only 95 degrees. I'm like, last time it was $112. It was way worse.
God damn.
Yeah, we did it July. It was the end of July. So end of July, beginning of August. I hiked the Red Rocks 5 miles barefoot. It's hot. 112. Literally 112. No bullshit. You know how Vegas gets. Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler. Yo, talk about a savage fight.
I want to hear what you think on this.
Matchup wise,
let me set it up. Gaethje is 3-1 in his last 4. This is Chandler's 3rd fight in the UFC. I don't think it's fair to really look at his record. Chandler, I think it's a must-win for Chandler if he wants to stay in relevancy.
He's 1-1.
Yeah,
He's 1-1 in the UFC. He can lose this fight if it's exciting, and still stay in the UFC, but really he has to win.
I don't mean to stay in the UFC. I mean to stay in title contention.
Yeah. Well, this is a number one contender fight.
Yeah.
Chandler just lost to the champ. That was the title fight. Gaethje just lost to Khabib his last fight.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the number one contender fight. I think who's fighting for the title next? Is it Poirier Oliveira?
Yeah.
I like Oliveira in that fight personally.
Really?
Poirier is also a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So let's see. Oh yeah, I think he's underrated. His jiu-jitsu skills are great.
He's definitely underrated.
He's way underrated.
Oliveira, yeah.
Oliveira's way underrated. Poirier is going to have a lot of steam coming in that fight. But Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, I'm picking Gaethje in this fight. Only because I think the leg kicks are going to be a problem for Chandler. And Gaethje has some of the most vicious leg kicks I've ever seen come out of a wrestler or any fighter, really. But for a guy that has a wrestling background, what is he doing throwing such hard kicks? And frequently, and he said, ba pop, pop. He's really throwing hard kicks. And traditionally, Michael Chandler is susceptible to the low leg kick. So this could be a nightmarish fight for Michael Chandler. He had a leg injury against Brent Primus. Sometimes that shit makes you really susceptible forever. You might damage a nerve there that you might get hit there again, and the same shit happens again. So he might have an Achilles heel, pardon the pun, that I see Gaethje really capitalizing with low leg kicks. It might even be in the first round. This could be a vicious fight for Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler could pull out those leaping left hooks and knock Gaethje out, but Gaethje has an incredible chin, so I don't see that happening. But I'm calling Gaethje by leg kicks.
All right, I want to throw you a different perspective because my initial thought was exactly what you just said, except more on the chin, less on the leg kicks. But
leg kicks is going to be his downfall, I think.
Here's my thoughts, right? Chandler, this is outside of the ring, but Chandler called out Gaethje. He pressed for this fight. So I'm already thinking Chandler must see something that we're not seeing. Like, he must see something that's not so obvious. Because I think at first glance, it's like, oh, I think Gaethje's going to kick this guy's ass. Considering the fact that Chandler lost by, I mean, he got tapped on the chin and he fell down from Charles Oliveira, who's not known for his striking.
But very accurate, that punch was.
Yeah, but, I mean, that shot stunned him, and it didn't. I was surprised that shot stunned him. But so you might.
Hey, listen, he got knocked out by Patricio Pitbull before coming to the UFC. So he came in very hyped after essentially losing badly 2 fights before he came in.
Yeah.
Really windy.
I think, yeah, it is. So here's my thing. If Chandler can avoid getting hit, which I think if he's smart, he'll that'll be what he's trying to do.
Is he going to chuck a kick? I've never seen him chuck a kick. Let's see.
I don't know. I mean, if he can stay out of the way somehow or check it,
I've never seen him chuck a kick. Hopefully he does.
Yeah. I mean,
he's going to have to check every kick. I don't think I could take more than 2 or 3 Justin Gaethje leg kicks.
But here's the thing. Don't you think Justin Gaethje, his chin's a little worn out because of all the punches he's taken in his career?
Yeah, maybe, but his last fight was more of a grappling fight against Khabib.
Mm-hmm.
He had time to recover. When's his last fight? His last fight might be 2 years ago, too. Fully recovered.
I think it was in the pandemic. It was the last fight Khabib had.
Yeah, so it was summer. Right at the beginning. It was like May-ish or something.
Yeah.
Last May.
I think the smart bet is on Gaethje, though. But I think
I would put money, if I was going to bet, I'd bet on Gaethje.
Yeah, I think the smart money's on Gaethje, but I think the way Chandler could get it done is take Gaethje to the ground and beat him up there, because that's what
Khabib would be his best bet, really. If Chandler wanted to be smart, that would be the way.
Like, don't get hit in the face. That's your weakness if you're Chandler. But I think Gaethje might have a.
I'm calling Gaethje in this fight, but I would like to see Chandler win.
Mm-hmm. I would
like to
too.
see him wrestle him. I just don't think it's going to happen. Personally, I don't know why I feel that way. But I feel like Gaethje's just going to wind up fucking his leg up. That's just what I see.
And then what do you think? Okay, so let's assume Chandler loses. Let's play what if for a sec. What is he like? What is his future in the UFC?
Chandler, you could give him another fight. He beat Dan Hooker, so you could give him a fight above that. Let's see who starts coming up through the rankings. I want to talk about this next fight.
Go for it.
Rose and Weili.
Uh-huh.
I think it's going to be a totally different fight than the last one. I don't think Rose is going to be able to catch her quick like that again.
No.
Weili, but Rose does also have something. 5 rounds. This could be fight of the century.
I know.
Yeah, this fight I'm excited because I think Weili's going to be a lot more measured in her approach now. It's easy to underestimate Rose. She's easy to overlook.
Yeah, I mean I think because Weili, the way
But
she
now
fights
she won't.
is no, but I think people will because of just how they both look when they're fighting. It looks like Weili's like way more athletic. So
She has way on paper. She has way more experience.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes that shit don't matter. Like experience is a funny thing. You could have a guy who has 20 fights, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
and a good record with those 20 fights. Let's say 18-2 or some shit.
Okay.
And then another guy who's like 5-3.
Okay.
And if you're not trying to like be picky, that 5-3 guy, a lot of times, depending on the competition, can be way better than that, 20-0 guy,
Mm-hmm.
depending on who he's fought.
Okay.
And might have way more experience.
Mm-hmm.
So like the record doesn't always tell the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's how I feel with myself. That's what I tell myself.
Yeah, because you're 3-2.
3-2 on paper on the official record. In my own imagination, I'm 4-2-1. Right.
Okay.
But even still, not a lot of fights.
Right.
But I feel in my head, I could fight a guy with 20, 30 fights in the right matchup, dust him.
Yeah.
If it's the right matchup. I know what I do against guys in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that fighting's not the gym, but I also know that I'm not fighting in the gym either. I'm training. Right. So it's a good gauge because it's not like I'm going crazy. Guy might think I am,
right?
But that's how good I am. That he thinks I'm going crazy and I'm chilling.
So you don't think
I'm pulling out my fucking B-reel, and they think I'm going mad hard. Meanwhile, I'm thinking about smoking a blunt and shit. No, I'm just kidding. I'm thinking about training.
You're like in a fucking leg lock, daydreaming about the island.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, next time I go to the island, maybe I'll bring a mat and I can stretch out there.
So you don't think
Rosen.
You don't think so? Yeah, I think Rose has 14 fights. Weili has like 23 or something.
Yeah.
You don't think?
It doesn't matter.
But you don't. I mean, that didn't stop Rose from sleeping her.
Knocking her out. Yeah, knocked her out the last time. I don't think it's going to happen like that this time. I think it's going to be a war. But I'm picking Rose. I like Rose a lot.
If Rose wins, what does that division do? Because they've both beat everybody.
Yeah.
Or they've both come out on top against all the other top fighters in that division except each other.
I know. The problem is if Rose wins again, that almost kills that division.
Yeah. So who do you think the UFC wants to win?
Weili. Because then you can set up a trilogy.
Yeah. That's easy.
Especially if you set up a trilogy in like China. Yeah.
Yeah, because they probably want Weili to be the star. To bring in all the Chinese fans.
Market, yeah.
But then you sell your soul to China, like LeBron. I was thinking about that today. Like, Dana's going to have to sell his soul to China eventually.
I don't think so. I hope not.
If he wants to keep growing, because you're going to max out here.
See, now you know why I'm very conscious of my freedom.
Yeah.
It's very easy to lose it. But Dana White's doing a good job of keeping his freedom while taking everyone else's.
That's a good one. So you got Rose. I got Rose too. I got Thug Rose.
I got Rose. I'm saying most strikes in any UFC fight ever.
That's gonna be
This
nuts.
fight's gonna have over 500 strikes, I think.
How does Rose do it?
I
How do you
think she
think she does?
outpoints her this time.
Unanimous or in a decision?
Decision might be split,
Okay.
but I think she gets a decision. If she knocks her out again, I'm gonna be super impressed.
Yeah.
But I'm calling decision. And fuck, I want to see Colby Covington beat Kamaru Usman so bad.
Why?
I like Colby Covington. The guy is he's underappreciated
As a fighter or as a person?
as a fighter.
Okay.
Yeah, way underrated as a fighter. He was doing great in that fight, fighting with a broken jaw. Even winning that round, he was compromised in. I mean, they really don't give him the credit he deserves. Usman has been getting better, though, even since their last fight, which worries me. Although I will tell you this, Masvidal got cocky, and you know the God of War don't like that. So when Masvidal was fighting Kamaru Usman, he started getting cocky about the strikes he was taking. Don't ever gloat about getting hit. If you got hit, even if a dude did this to me, if a dude did that, I'd be pissed. Don't hit me.
Okay.
At all. You don't do dick to me. No. That's not how this fight works. If you did that, I'm fucking pissed. Why'd you hit me?
Yeah, because this next one's gonna break the internet. That's what Kamaru Usman said.
Yeah, no.
You like that? This next one's gonna put you to bed.
If you touch me, that means you can then follow through. You just found your range. No, don't touch me. Don't fucking touch me. Yeah, I don't want to get and you know when the guy starts being like, yeah, whatever. No, I'm like, oh god, don't do that. You know, never fucking encourage the guy to do well what he already did well.
Yeah.
Just don't respond to it. That makes the guy not want to do it again. If a guy cracks you and you just like, and he cracks you hard, you're just like, he's like, oh, this guy's not affected by my punches. If you're like, oh, come on. He's like, all right, I'm going to come on. Right? Yeah, okay. That guy obviously felt it because the punches you don't feel, you don't even acknowledge. What? You don't do shit. If you get hit and it don't hurt, you know what you do? Nothing. It didn't hurt. Right? You don't acknowledge shit that don't hurt.
What do you think was Colby's downfall in the first fight?
You know, he was fighting a good fight. I know it's hard to want to mix up the wrestling against a guy that might be technically a better wrestler than you. But after the first round, he stopped trying to mix up like a single leg and they made it just a pure kickboxing fight. Both guys did.
Yeah.
And both guys could have did a better job of incorporating both. Otherwise, man, Kamaru Usman just looks like the more solid dude. That's, you know, something to be said for that. While Covington's the more volume-based fighter, but they're both high volume. So I'd like to see Covington win. I'm going to pick Colby, even though.
Do you really think he wins?
It's a rough fight, you know. Plus, he's conservative, which I like. Yeah. I know it's cringe because he plays it up.
But good for him.
Hey, listen, he wasn't getting fights before that.
Right. Okay, so
I'm gonna pick Colby.
I'm picking Kamaru, but I think it'd be more
fun. He looks like such a monster.
Imagine Colby imagine how Colby would act if he was the champion. It would be so entertaining. It would be like 6'9". Like
I would love if Colby was the champ. It would be great. Donald Trump would be on the phone.
And then you've got a super fight trilogy. You've got like one of the biggest super fight of all time, maybe.
Yo, I would love to see Colby Covington come in with 10 more pounds of muscle, actually.
But then that cut would be brutal.
Yeah, well, muscle's 80% water, so it will still be brutal, but
yeah,
if you could put on clean muscle, it'll be easier to cut the water, right? He's going to muscle's going to lose a lot of water. And then you'll replenish it. And then be swole, son.
What do you think happens if Kamaru wins? Like what? What is there left to do?
So if Kamaru wins, I think in that division it's light competition after that too because they beat everyone. To fight
except
Masvidal
Wonder
again.
Boy. He didn't beat Wonder Boy.
No, he hasn't beat Wonder Boy, and that's a good matchup for both guys.
Mm-hmm.
Although Kamaru might just be able to take him down and smash him. Or control him to Wonder Boy. But Wonder Boy's ground game is underrated. But yeah, that could be a rough one for him. Otherwise, who else is in that division? In order to fight Masvidal again, Masvidal would have to crush someone. Who else is a standout in that division coming up? How's Vicente Luque looking?
It's him or Wonder Boy next.
Yeah, I think Vicente was looking good. But yeah, hopefully Colby wins. Because if Colby wins, that makes the next fight easy. They could just do a trilogy, sell the fuck out of it. Do it in Africa would be great. That would be great.
Put do the African card where it's like all the African champs.
Ngannou, yeah, exactly. Do Africa card. Why not?
Well, because then you could
even throw Izzy in there. He's from originally
Nigeria. Where was it?
Nigeria, I think.
No, that's Kamaru.
Kamaru's Nigeria.
Except he was born and raised in America.
Ngannou, I think, is Cameroon. Yeah, I know they love to claim that, but it's like.
But doesn't Aljo do that too?
Everyone loves to do that. Jamaica.
Yeah. So just do that. Do all the champs who have African ancestors.
Yeah. You could, or just you could do the whole card. You could stack it that way. Yeah. Like they always used to do that for the Brazil cards, half Brazilians or all Brazilians. It was just like an all Brazil card.
That would be crazy.
With like maybe 5 or 6 guys that weren't Brazilian.
That would be crazy.
But, yeah, the Brazil cards was sick. Back in the day, there were riots at those shits too. Renzo Gracie, during a fight, got stabbed in the cage. The fights in Brazil were crazy. So he was fighting in a match against another Brazilian guy. And during that fight, they were essentially like 2 gangs got into a fight. Like their teams were like gangs. Yeah. So they get into a fight. Then there's a blackout, right? The power goes out and someone stabbed Renzo through the cage because they kept fighting. They're fighting each other still.
Oh, God.
During the blackout and riot, Brazil is crazy. This shit was nuts. All right, so I'm picking. All right, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Colby. Fuck it. I might even bet some money. No, I don't bet on fights. Humans are unpredictable.
Yeah. I got Kamaru.
All right.
Much to my, I guess, lack of joy. Not that I want him to lose, but like.
Oh, shit. John Valente's on the early prelims.
Who's that?
John Valente, he used to train with us at Law. I don't know if he was training there this time. I haven't been there like enough to really say. He's fighting at heavyweight.
Okay. That'd be cool.
John Valente, 17 and 13.
Goddamn.
He had 30 fights in the UFC. He's had a lot of fights. Go look him up. Okay. But he's, he goes back and forth. He used to fight at 205. Now he's up at heavyweight. He makes good money, too. So good for him. All right. Jake.
Oh, yeah. All right. I'll talk to you later, John.